Hello there, my name is Beatrice Atyang and I'm the coordinator of MIFUMI division. My role in Tororo is to oversee all the activities in MIFUMI, including gender-based violence work, of which the shelter is among. And I would like to just give you an overview of what the shelter is. This shelter is known as Tororo GBV shelter, and the shelter was officially opened in 2008, that is December 2008, and it is a purpose-built shelter. What I mean by a purpose-built shelter is that it is a shelter with everything that a survivor needs in, and it was the first shelter opened in Uganda. Why the shelter dates way back in our earlier work of MIFUMI, whereby originally the women down there who were doing most of this domestic violence work, we call them IDVs in short, but they are independent domestic violence advisors. So these women were encountered with challenges. For example, when a woman comes to your center to report a case and her life is at risk, she cannot go back home, because when she goes back, she will be either battered or she will be murdered. So some of these women will come and disclose to us, telling us that their homes are not safe. So what MIFUMI did with the time is to think of opening a shelter, and that is how this shelter came about. So we opened this shelter with the hope that most of these women whose lives are at risk at the point of time when they report cases would be sheltered here temporarily as their cases are being handled. It has a bed capacity of 28. That means that we receive more cases needing shelter here, but we are limited by the accommodation. We cannot accommodate everyone, and the cases are usually referred from the unveils centers. At times even others come from police, but the majority come from unveils centers. Unveils centers within Tororo we have about 22 unveils centers, and then others also come from as far as Iganga, Namayego, Bujiri, Mayuge, Mbale, Bukwo, Kwen, Budaka. So we receive cases from very far, and all those people are in need of shelter, and it is our duty to give them shelter according to their needs. Once a survivor has been screened and we see that she's fit to come to the shelter, we admit her to the shelter. And our shelter rule is that a survivor can walk in with their children, and their children, of course, are children below 16 years. That is for boys. We don't receive boys above that age, because you know this is more of a women's space, women and girls space. So we receive the survivor with their children, because most times survivors run with their children, and you cannot admit the woman and leave out the children. So she can come with maybe the younger ones, 2 or 3 of them. So your work is to admit them, and then the case is registered, and you take them through the rules. We also have rules and regulations here at the shelter. There are rules and regulations, and after taking them through those rules and regulations, they are shown their rooms, and all our rooms are self-contained. As you can see, this one, they all have washrooms within their rooms. So we try to ensure the survivor is as comfortable as possible, to ensure that it's as if they're at their home. And then also within this facility, that is we call it the haven, because you know what haven is. Haven is a place that is lovely to be in. So we also have a recreation room, and this is mainly for these survivors to pass time, and also children. We have children's room where these children can play, because when a survivor comes with the children, you also have to get up for the needs of the children. So the children have where to play. The survivor also has at least time to watch television and keep her mind, and of course take time with her other fellow survivors around. And then we also have kitchen, both in and out. We have outside kitchen and inside kitchen, where we encourage them to participate in cooking. Actually, these survivors who come in, we encourage them to participate in activities that happen here. They are supposed to clean their rooms. They are supposed to ensure they wash their clothes. Of course, we give them things for doing all that. They are also supposed to participate in cooking, unless if they are not capable of doing that. What we mean by the shelter is that we want a survivor to feel as if they are in their homes, they are not in prison. So at your home, what do? You feel free, you're not locked between the walls around. You can move out, you can, within the compound, you can chat with your fellow friends within the facility, you can watch television, to just make them feel at home. The shelter is a restricted area. That means that not anyone can walk to the shelter, and of course our identity, the identity of the shelter is usually not disclosed. We don't want anyone walking to the shelter, and the reason why we don't want anyone walking into the shelter is because these perpetrators, if someone knows their wife is in this facility, they may try to break in or even attack the social workers who work here, because their wives are inside here. It's like you cannot tell somebody outside, oh, your wife is inside there, and the man keeps silent. He will look for a way of how to get her out, and of course this place will be attacked. So it is a restricted area where people are not supposed to know. When a woman is brought in here, the woman is safe here while her case is being handled. We handle her case here to ensure that the violent partner is brought to books, and this woman is only resettled when we are sure that the woman's life is free, that she's safe. That is when we resettle her. But our rules are that the maximum days someone is supposed to stay here is 3 days, but that is not always the case. We have people staying for more than 3 days because you find 3 days may not be enough for you to plan the resettlement plan. Resettlement plan only happens if we are sure where the woman is going is safe. Usually when a woman is here, so many things are happening. Her case is being handled, and also we are trying to draw up a resettlement plan for her. Resettlement plan means the woman is telling us where it's safe to resettle her, because you cannot keep here someone forever. You have to plan where to settle her, and it's the woman to give you information, or it is her to give you information, then you go and get in touch with her relatives and you tell them so and so is in our shelter and we plan to resettle her. So is it safe for us to bring her here? So there's a lot of discussion that goes on. So when we ensure now that those other people on the other end are ready to receive her, that is where our team goes down there together with her to resettle her. But also what happens here in the shelter, we also have an economic empowerment program. For example, there is a lot of baking that takes place here. We want these women to go out with skills that they have acquired. They have only not been sheltered, but they are moving out with some knowledge. So we always encourage them to participate. We have green vegetable growing. We have a backyard here where the women are encouraged to grow vegetables. And then we also have sewing machines where we encourage them to learn tailoring. And then also there is knitting. So there's a lot that happens here with women. And also while they're here, we always have this, what we call survivor support group. We always try to bring the survivors within together so that they may also share experiences with the others that they are sharing the accommodation with. That is to make them feel at home. And then there are also some cases we receive where the survivor is in need of medical attention. And it is our role to ensure that the survivor's life is taken care of. If she's in need of medical attention, we are just opposite the main hospital. So we usually have an officer escorting her to the hospital to get medical treatment, because the woman has to be medically fit for us to accommodate her here. And I would also like to talk about the nature of cases we receive here. The majority are these cases where there is physical harm, whereby someone has been battered and chased out of a home. So those cases come to us and we have to accommodate them, because most times the men have chased them out of the home. We also have land-related cases whereby some of these women, like widows and others, they are grabbing their land and their life is at risk in the community. So they need shelter. You know, any issues that is connected to land is very there. Your life is at stake. So those women run to us and say, I've reported a case, but I'm not safe. Then we have these ones what fathers have neglected their children. The fathers have just gone away and the children are just on their own. They need help, they come here. Then we also have cases of early child marriage. You find that these girls below age, you find a girl comes here to us, she's pregnant. She's pregnant, you have to attend to them. Of course, that one, if she's underage, is a defilement case, but we first accommodate her because at times when you are handling with the police, the girl may need shelter. There are many nature of such cases, defilement. At times defilement cases are brought here because you find that sometimes when these girls report defilement, sometimes it's even by their own close family members. Their homes are not safe. So usually the police ask us, please temporarily look after this child. We cannot take her back. The home is not safe. Probably the community are asking her, how can you go and report your own father? How can you report your uncle? So they are safe here when their cases are being handled. But the biggest challenge is risk, because your life is at risk. When you look after somebody's wife, at times information goes out that your wife could be inside there. So you just get that fear that maybe someone is trailing you, someone wants to attack you. So there is always that fear because you are trying to help out a woman, and of course you become also a problem to the perpetrator who is not happy about what you're doing. So usually your life actually is at risk. And then the other thing is also challenges of just logistics, finances, because when you look after these survivors, it's very expensive to look after even one person. These women come with their children. First of all, we even give them clothing because sometimes they have only come with the only clothes they have. So we have shelter clothes that we give them. Sometimes those sanitary towels you have to give them. You have to feed them, and imagine feeding. You have to give them basic food, that is breakfast, lunch, and supper. You have to feed them well because they're under your facility, and it's very costly to feed, very, very costly. And then also the case handling has to come in because case handling requires a lot of logistics. You are liaising with the police who want money, who want to give us fuel to go to the perpetrator's place. It's back and forth case handling. Then you have to get in touch with the family at the other end where you plan to resettle. So you are also in liaison with the other side where she wants to be resettled. So you are handling the perpetrator at his home, you are handling where she's happy to be resettled. So there is usually a lot that goes on that requires a lot of money. And resettlement means sometimes you have to basically travel to where you're going to resettle the survivor. For example, if the survivor is from Karamoja, one time had the case from Moroto. Our team had to travel to Moroto because you have to move in advance to go and first meet the other people to ensure that where you're bringing the survivor is safe. So all those logistics need money, and yet you find the funds that are released towards shelter work may not be able to meet, but we really try to make their life as happy as possible.